why do women need to manage it, or why do they need to work for their, why do they need to create their wealth? We are all speaking about technology, whether it's AI, whether it's all the technology that exists today. While technology democratizes, it gives you access, the truth is also that it makes it more expensive. Today, the cost of living, and I say this, I pitch this, and this is, what we've got the best sort of response to, because while we can preach and we can say, you must learn this, you must do this, it is pertinent, it is important for you to create financial security or create wealth or whatever it may be, at the end of the day, as women, we think beyond ourselves.
Regardless whether it is technology or agriculture or fashion. I just met a media person, 15 years in media. Look at what women are doing. So it doesn't matter. The only difference we have from a man is one chromosome. Our brain is the same.
Women bring so much value, and of course both genders bring very important perspectives. But women bring creativity, they bring empathy, future foresight. They're not planning just for themselves. ESG is a goal because they're not just thinking about we want to make money for today. It's about what future am I leaving for my children, right?
I think that's a very, as you rightly said, the opportunity is tremendous, and all we need to do is not limit ourselves with our own thinking. I think sometimes we become our own barriers, and the moment that's the first step towards building the next.
Holds nearly half the recorded music in the industry. Avarna has been the driver of bringing in a lot of change, bringing in global publications, a Gen Z focus, AI-led music apps, and forays into new areas like the wedding economy. She's expanded the group's focus onto many future-focused areas like content, global publications, and been recognized by Fortune, FICCI, YFlow, and the United Nations for her leadership. Finally, we have Priti Rathi Gupta, who is the promoter and co-founder of the Anand Rathi Group, one of India's fastest growing wealth management companies, and who has actually stepped down as MD of Anand Rathi to wear the founder's hat again to build Lxme, India's money app and first UPI for women. Welcome, Priti. I didn't say how many years.
You almost did.
So we have such a powerful panel that covers innovation, capital, policy and culture, and the perfect one to shed light on powering the wealth shift, how women will shape the next $1 trillion economy. So this question is for everyone. When we talk about the X trillion dollar economy and we talk about growth, we generally talk about tech or the markets. Today we are saying women will critically shape it. Why is this moment? Sorry. Okay, sorry. So when we talk about the X trillion dollar economy, is the mic on? You can listen, yeah? We talk about tech and markets. Today we are saying women will shape it, right? So why is this moment critical and inevitable for women to take charge of wealth creation and financial decision making?
It's funny.
It's everyone.
Okay, I'll start. So before I start, let me just share with you some stats. And pardon me, I come from a technology background, so numbers and statistics will flow a lot. So number one, let me just talk about United States. United States has 56% women in the workforce. Is it enough? Absolutely not. I want more women to come there. Let me share with you China. And then you know what happened with United States over the last 10 years? It was 56. Today it's one. Actually, it's almost the same. In China, 10 years ago, it was 65%. Today, it's more like 55%. India was 28% 10 years ago. Now it's like 38%. Now, what's the story behind it? You know, numbers are meaningless unless I give you a story. The story was, what was happening in China 10 years ago, it was actually on the runway, ready to take off or had already taken off, and women were 68%. United States, I have lived half my professional life in United States, and I can tell you, they have as much a problem as India. I have been to places where women have told me in United States that their parents thought that she should be a nurse while the brother be a doctor. So they have that kind of problem also. So it's not a India alone problem, a Switzerland alone problem, it's the problem of the world. My thought is, regardless whether it is technology or agriculture or fashion, I just met a media person, 15 years in media. I mean, look at what women are doing. So it doesn't matter. The only difference we have from a man is one chromosome. Our brain is the same. I personally feel the change that has to be made is one within. I always like to look at myself, and let me give you just final 2-3 statements on myself. I have worked in US and India for 30 years. I walked into Intel, I was 20, and when I walked out, I was 50 plus. Life happened in the middle. Let me tell you what and how my life happened. There were moments, I'm in a hardcore technology, not a software, I'm a hardware engineer, full of men. I'd be designing with men and they would give all kinds of abuses when they would find a bug. Very women-centric, and I turned pink. From that phase to now, I sometimes forget that he's a man behind the camera. I just see him as a human being. And this change happened over the years. I have stood up. You know, people say glass ceiling, it's real. I have stood up, hit the glass ceiling so many times. I have bruised myself. I had blood flowing down. That's how much I fought. I fought so bloody hard that today does not matter. Those men are standing there, it doesn't matter. I just see them as souls, wonderful human beings who can contribute like I can. The one thing that we have to be careful about, not a male versus female, is we have to be prepared with agents, with robots. They will be our facilitators, and I request women to not shy off from AI but learn it. Because if you are a seamstress or you are a space engineer, everybody will need AI. And I honestly feel the economy of India will triple, quadruple. The world, people say, will add what, $16 trillion, the whole size of almost China, into the world GDP if women come to the workforce. So my ask is, look within, whatever is bothering you, address it. Seek out for the helpful men. World is always, a normal distribution. Half the people are this way, half the people are that way. There are amazing men. Reach out. The problem is the world's, not just women.
Great point. It's not just equality, it's huge opportunities that women bring.
So I think what you said was very, very insightful, and I'm going to take it slightly on the creative side because that's the economy I really come from. And the orange economy really today in India represents about 2.5% of the GDP. They say it will go up to about 10% by 2030. In this shift, in this industry, I think there is a disproportionate number of women that lead this industry. And I think if we can, as women, empower ourselves and the women around us with the tools required to become economic multipliers, I think the effects can be much more than what is anticipated. If people are thinking, today I think women are 48% of India's population, but their contribution to India's GDP is about 18%, if I'm not wrong. As you rightly said, the opportunity is tremendous, and all we need to do is not limit ourselves with our own thinking. I think sometimes we become our own barriers, and the moment that's the first step towards building the next $1 trillion economy.
Absolutely.
I try not to hijack this panel with this question because I think that's just completely up our alley. I think one, why do women need to manage it, or why do they need to work for their, why do they need to create their wealth? We are all speaking about technology, whether it's AI, whether it's all the technology that exists today. While technology democratizes, it gives you access The truth is also that it makes it more expensive. Today, the cost of living, I mean, and I say this, I pitch this, and this is, what we've got the best sort of response to, because while we can preach and we can say, you must learn this, you must do this, it is pertinent, it is important for you to create financial security or create wealth or whatever it may be, at the end of the day, as women, we think beyond ourselves. It's the minute you get, money in your hands, you don't think of yourself first. You think of your family, you think of your children, you think of everything else, right? And our pitch to all of you here, especially the women, is that going forward, you will need to expand the family wealth bucket. Because while things are getting, like I said, democratized, it is also getting expensive. What women bring to the fore is the ability, there are more and more women now, at least in India, coming to the workforce. Like Nivruti said, 38% in workforce, and it's only going to grow because I think the education, the number of women coming into post-graduation, graduation is increasing. I think the important bit is that while they're earning money, what are they doing with that money? Access is not a problem. There are enough digital platforms, there's enough access, today we are all digital natives, you go onto the internet, you can get all the access you want. I think it's important to sort of have access to what builds for your behavior. And that also is happening. If you do that, you actually build wealth, you grow the wealth of the family, you grow the wealth of the nation. And since we're talking numbers, I was on a panel earlier where there was an economist who said that, women can add $7 trillion of wealth to global wealth in the next few years. And I said India over the last 5 years in capital markets has created, close to $7 trillion of wealth, right, for the country within capital markets. If women who are, coming into workforce apparently will have the ability to earn $1.5 trillion, if they start investing that money, that's $7 trillion of wealth can be created by just one country alone.
Yeah.
So that's the opportunity. And when wealth is created and when wealth comes in the hands of women, the world that we live in today, I mean, we are at the crux of this entire geopolitical conversation, stability issues. Everybody's worried about the future. But when money comes in the hands of women, I think what they do is actually invest in the future. Everything that we talk about, whether it's climate, whether it's peace, that's where the money goes. Which is why it's important for women to manage their money and grow wealth and add to the wealth of the global wealth.
Very well said. So basically, it's not about women just earning, it's having agency over it. Because when women have agency over it, they build better futures for themselves and for the world. Okay, Avarna, this one's for you. As someone who has also broken the glass ceiling and brought new perspectives, gone into new areas, the weddings economy, global publications, what do you think was the value add you added specifically as a woman, right? So where women don't join leadership or not part of leadership for diversity, but because they bring deep value, the woman's perspective.
That's a very interesting question. I've never thought of it as adding value specifically as a woman. I think it's just... So a large part of what I do is very, very creatively led. And I think by nature, women are creatively inclined. And for the last few, I can't say for eons, but for like the last few decades, couple of centuries, I feel like women's creativity has gone on the back foot because the speciality that most women sort of have, this creative instinct, has not been valued in terms of GDP. But if you look at it today, I think our government is doing a lot. Things are changing today. Yes, you have an artist, a woman artist may be creating worldly art which has a QR code attached to it. I think those are small ways in which the industry is changing, and that women are shaping how GDP is or determining how GDP will be determined in the future.
Exactly. You know, women bring so much value, and of course, both genders bring very important perspectives. But women bring creativity, they bring empathy, future foresight. They're not planning just for themselves. ESG is a goal because they're not just thinking about we want to make money for today. It's about what future am I leaving for my children, right?
I think that's a very important point. I think that also comes into the workplace, right? So if you're working with a team of people, as a woman, I think, and I'm sure that applies to most of us, you look at every problem that comes to you slightly differently, from a slightly more human perspective, because I don't know if it's because our EQ is higher, lest I say, than the men. So you look at it a little bit differently, you address it differently, and you also understand the real nature of some problems. Sometimes in the workplace I see some problems are just dismissed. Sorry, like, you just got to do this. It doesn't matter if you have a problem at home. But sometimes as a woman, I'm like, listen, if you have a genuine problem, let's find a work around, let's find a solution. And I think that gives a lot of people the confidence to come to the workplace.
Yeah.
So these systemic barriers, I think, is something maybe that I'm working towards in my organization. I'm confident all the women sitting here are doing the same. And maybe that's a small change that I think I've made.
That's amazing. You know, and women role models are so important. Like even Masoom Meenawala, her saying why it's important that we all have personal branding, because it's not just to put yourself out there, but because there's other women who probably do not have the opportunities that we do, but they see someone else and are inspired to go out there and own who they are. So Nivruti, on that, my next question is to you. From a capital perspective, what gaps as per you still exist in traditional financial systems when it comes to serving women effectively? And you know, when we talk about numbers, there's about, in startups, there's 20% women founders, but just 2 to 3% capital flow into them. Why do you think that is?
I think I can think of it from multiple angles. The one that I have seen often, and I'll give you my own example. So, you know, I'll speak with what I did. So, you know, I was in US in university, and we had a class which is called Monte Carlo simulation, where you're trying to reduce the number of experiments. So I'm taking that class, and I was talking to my professor, and I said, no, I don't think I did well, and I won't get a good grade. And in my heart, I'm thinking I really did bad. And this was not to get a pat on my back, but honestly, I thought I screwed up. A gentleman next to me, he says, oh, I did really well. That was easy. I said, okay, it was easy. And come next day, and it's not like a male or female, but that man and this woman is the story I'm telling you. Next day, the grade comes, and he says, you know, what did you get? And I'm slowly saying A minus. So, and then I'm saying, okay, I thought he must have definitely got an A plus. I said, what did you get? So first he's not trying to tell me. I said, come on. So he said, C minus. Just look at the confidence. I messed up, and I'm saying, like, I'm thinking, if I do perfect, only then I'm good. And this guy is thinking, you know, he probably knew everything, and he was like so confident, and with bravado he missed something. He definitely must have known. So I'm thinking that's actually a lot of times we lack confidence, and we want so much of a perfection before we say we are good. And so what? I've learned through my 30 years at Intel, trial and error. Sometimes I've made this a quote for my team. Timeliness is better than perfection. And it was geared towards me. And I know that many people, men and women, who want the creeping elegance and the perfection and miss out selling Christmas tree before Christmas. So then after Christmas, you sell for peanuts. And therefore I like to say timeliness is important. You can trial and error, figure out, you know, the customer, include the customer input. So that's the one part that I feel women sometimes miss. And the confidence with which you can pitch, if you believe in it, the product can improve. The second thing is also the perception. My minister in India made a statement, by the way, he got some backlash for this, is India and a lot of startups are focusing on non-tech. focusing on quick money, focusing on delivery that I can become 3 months later I can make money. However, when there is a patient capital requirement to build a battery energy storage system for your solar, because solar is variable, people are saying, oh, who is going to wait for, even the smart guys, who's going to wait? So this is not just a women problem. I think we are missing out on good capital from India as well as abroad, because we are focusing on quicker money. So for women, it's more about confidence and pitching. For general, I'm thinking long term is what is going to drive real growth. Short term, you can make money, but there will be 100 other companies. So uniqueness, long term, patient capital, patience and confidence, I think I've got a pitch for.
I think, can I just add on to this, and I loved how you put that coming to the table perspective, because that's what, our own confidence in saying, like patting our own backs to say yes, and you've done well, you've come this long way, or whatever. But one other thing I feel that works against women, especially in terms of capital flow, which is actually a great attribute when it comes to investing money, by the way, is this difference between risk aware and risk averse, right? Because we are so risk aware, people say we're risk averse, but we are so risk aware that when we run a startup, and I think Ridhi and I discuss this all the time, we are doing scenario planning all the time, right? And all our time is spent in doing that, in understanding, okay, what happens in a, poor, like a bad scenario, or a moderately risky scenario, or a, absolutely high growth scenario. And that sometimes becomes the bottleneck. I think when you are building something, and you rightly said, one is timely, but also to say that yes, don't do so much of scenario planning also. Just go in because you've got a great idea, you've got to build it. Just go for it, and there will be mistakes. And mistakes and failures are a part. And by the way, that is something also that we are very scared of. We are very scared of failing. And that is something that I think our school curriculum needs to teach us. That is okay to fail. You cannot win all the time.
Can I just add one point here to the question you asked me, is a big change that I think I have made also. And I do it at home as well, not just in at my workplace. Is take the decision and own the responsibility for it. Yes, it's okay if it was a wrong decision. It's fine. We'll work it out. But take the decision. Don't sit on the fence for so long. Like you said, Christmas is gone.
Yeah.
So that's the one big change. And I keep telling my kids, decide. Like, take a call. You might make the wrong decision today. You might choose the wrong language because they're still in school and they will choose something. But it's okay. Take the call.
So true. Like, women bring so much ownership and integrity to everything they do. It's amazing, and sometimes maybe we are extra humble or question ourselves too much, but we need to have the confidence to fail fast and fail forward. So Priti,
that's her tagline, by the way.
at work.
It's a great one.
All the time.
It's a great one.
So Priti, the next one's for you. And this actually adds to Nivruti's point. You very rarely actually take credit for being ex-MD and co-promoter, co-founder of Anand Rathi, right? A $4 billion conglomerate. Now you stepped down, won the founder's hat, right, for women. What do you think the potential is? How do we shift women from being earners to actually wealth growers? And if you step down from such a large company, what do you think is the potential when women do take charge of their money?
I think one secret is that I'm a business person. So to step down, the reason has to be a bigger opportunity, and that's what we see, right? But I think it's also important that, and the earlier panel said, right, that for us, purpose is also very, very important, right? It drives decisions. And therefore, I think building Lxme has a larger purpose. The opportunity is great, and I didn't want to build it as an initiative, as a CSR, as something that you do, because then, forever it becomes like, oh, women, poor things, need the CSR initiative. I think we really wanted to highlight that this is the opportunity and work towards it. The opportunity we've already spoken about. I think with technology where we are, the way technology is being adopted in our country, women taking to it so intuitively. It was just the right time to build a platform like Lxme. And we knew, I think, when we started, we knew that there is no historical benchmark. We will make many mistakes. But in our heart, we knew that if starting something like Lxme encourages many more women to start Lxme or men to start something like Lxme, we'll genuinely have this movement in the country, right? And we're talking of 550 million women. We're a land of opportunity. And if every woman starts, just growing her wealth, for us it was just, I think, you could just only imagine what it meant. So I think that's what just drives me day in, day out to sort of build this. And we have our good days, we have our bad days, we have our challenging days. But every day to get up and say, okay, let's go for it. Today's a new day. We learn something new. We fail maybe, but we definitely succeed as well.
Amazing. So it's a huge opportunity and of course making the world a better place.
Definitely.
Last thoughts?
Last thoughts. Okay, we're short on time. Okay, so at Lxme we say we are enabling the pink revolution. Right? And I think it can't happen with 2 people or 5 people or just one gender. In your areas of of culture, like maybe a woman only Shark Tank, capital and policy, and of course you're working for this. But what are your thoughts in your roles? What can you do or what do you want to do to help ensure women take charge of their wealth and grow to the opportunity and potential they should be at?
I think it's a very simple thing. Women are almost the preservers of culture, and today it's established that culture is capital. So I think it's a very natural thing for us to build capital through women.
Absolutely. I mean, maybe a woman only Shark Tank.
That could be very interesting. Shark Tank, I hope you're listening.
Yeah.
I have been a fearless person all my life. And there is a poet in India whose 2 lines completely define me. And I'm going to tell you in Urdu, and then I'm going to also translate in English so everybody can benefit from it. And I think that's what we should personify if it works for you. The शेर is, रंज से खुगर होता है इंसान, तो मिट जाता है रंज. When so many challenges and difficulties are thrown on you, they cease to be difficult. The second line is, मुश्किलें इतनी पड़ी मुझ पर कि आसान हो गई. There were so many challenges thrown on me, they became easy. And therefore I feel, I loved what you said, become fearless, don't worry about consequence. Consequence good, you make money. Consequence bad, it's a teacher, you learn from it. And I'm going to finish with Winston Churchill, very much like you both. Winston Churchill said, was it Abraham Lincoln? He said, I failed upwards. When he lost the election at the city level, he went for county, I don't know whichever is bigger. He failed again at the county. He went for the president and he won it. So every failure taught him till he became the president of the United States. And each of you, men or women, do not worry about risk. Risk is the only thing which is going to bring you capital. Otherwise, live an average life all your life. Thank you.
Thank you. Very inspired, very inspired by what Nivruti said, and I think just because we are in this, this very Urdu shero shairi sort of, ambience. So I would just add the last one bit. I think when we were building Lxme, the whole world came to us and said, why do you need a platform? Why do you need a money platform for women? And I think we've done this trek to reaching a point where today we have a blueprint on how this can be world over solved, how women and money can really be brought together. And I will end on a Urdu sher as well. Is shamme faroza ko andhi se darate ho. As in you are scaring this flame with a hurricane. Is shamme faroza ko andhi se darate ho. Is shamme faroza ke parwane hazaro. Means that there are many people who will protect us from the hurricane.
but as long as we stand up for ourselves.
I love that.